So Don, thank you for taking time during our Lenten journey to talk about some of the past of Spirit Alive. And I'm so excited because you, I know, are one of the originators, the original gangsters of Spirit Alive, the OGs. So I'm very thankful that you're going to take some time. So if you could just kind of introduce yourself real quick and say how long you've been here as a member of Spirit Alive. Even if it was before Spirit Alive existed. And then if you could just tell us a little bit about why you got involved here in the first place.
Okay, that's very easy. My name is Don Kaelber. I've been here as an original member. Was here for the very first service at Rexplex. I got started in the church because the Synod out of Milwaukee had sent a pastor down to establish a mission church in this area. The original mission statement was west of the I Road, but that subsequently got changed to west of Highway 31, because once they got down here, they realized that there wasn't a big call for west of 31. Those people were going to Paddocks Lake or wherever else they were going, so that would have been a hard place to recruit from. I got started because when the Synod decided that this is what they wanted to do, they picked St. Mary's Lutheran Church to be the lead church, along with the other 6 or 7 ELCA churches. And I had a personal friend at St. Mary's who was on the board, and he told me about the pastor that had come down and was working with them and working through them, and they were working with him, and how he preached to them, to the congregation. And I had coffee with this friend every day, 5 days a week, and I was grumbling that I didn't like what I was hearing from the churches I was at. So he said, I think you like this guy. He's a fisherman, hunter. He likes to do all kinds of outdoor things, and his sermons are way above what we are getting at St. Mary's. He said, I'm having a hard time, quietly, he said, I'm having a hard time staying here when the new church opens up. But he was raised in there, and he was bound and determined he was going to stick it out. So on his recommendations, when we found out when the new service was going to start, my family and I went to Rexplex to hear the pastor with his first sermon. We had some interesting times at Rexplex.
Spirit Alive is often called a different church. What does that word different mean to you?
Well, different to me is the meaning of contemporary, where the ministers aren't dressed in their frocks and whatever that goes on. We don't use the same old hymnals that everybody else does. We don't do communion like everybody else does. We are just a different breed of cat for a Lutheran church, because if you go way back, you'll see that my grandfather belonged to Friedman's Lutheran, and that was where they went in shirts and ties and they sat in a pew like this. To me, it's a freeing worship to be able to worship freely and not being dictated to that you will do it this way or you will do it that way. I'm not that kind of a guy. That I may be when I'm raising my kids, but I'm not that kind of person that I don't take kindly to somebody telling me exactly in life what I have to do, whether I agree with them or not. But that's my word for different, and this is a different, comfortable, loving place for me to be.
How has this community affected your faith over the last 20 years? How have you seen your faith grow and your change?
Well, my faith has grown a lot. I didn't have a lot of faith when we were over at Grace, and I didn't have a lot of faith when we were at Trinity. St. Mary's, to me, was just, you can edit this in or edit that out, was just a huge church. And when I walked in the door there on Sundays, I just felt cold. And even though they shook your hand and said nice, polite things, I never got the feeling that I was really welcome there.
It was easy to be anonymous.
It was very easy to be anonymous. And I had two grandchildren baptized over there, two gone through the catechism or whatever they go through. They both turned out great kids. They've got great friends from that church. But it was just that my faith grew here because I felt as though I had the faith of everybody that was around me, that was a friend, and the faith of the pastors that was here, that made this home. This is where I divert my Gutierrez, is that in our family experience, we've had some family losses. Lost our son, and now we've lost Yvonne. And we've experienced the losses within the last 4 years. My daughter Laura was the sole caregiver for Yvonne for 6 years. And without Spirit Alive, Pastor Kevin, I don't know how we would have made it. If the Curie of the members of Spirit Alive made it all possible.
It sounds like one of the big things that has kept you not only engaged in this church, but what has drawn you here is this family that God has created for you. This church family that can walk with you through the highs of life, but also these very difficult lows, through the very deep valleys of death itself.
This is true, and that's a very true statement. It's a family, and I consider it my family. You might ask me why I'm still here. First of all, I found a place I love. And we've been here for over 20 years, and it's easy. It's the people. It's the pastor, it's the people. We all come from different churches, and we're looking for something new and exciting and contemporary. I think almost everybody you talk to, they were up to here in garments, garbs, all of this kind of stuff, hymnals and whatever, and there was another way to do church, and it doesn't have to be the old-fashioned way. And I know that over a period of time, I can name 2 or 3 couples that have left us because we are not the old-fashioned church, and this particular lady loved the hymns. Well, I like the hymns, but I like our new version of the hymns. And that may sound funny from a guy that's 86 years old, or will be. Anyway, quite old. So, and we're just a group of people that we've got this attitude that we can do it, and we can take it on. We're a caring congregation, reconciling in Christ, and if you have been told by a church that God doesn't love you for who you are, you'll find a safe place in our Spirit Alive.
20 years down the road, what do you hope Spirit Alive is known for in the community of Kenosha? What do you hope this church will become in the next 20 years?
An even more welcoming church than that. We will be known as a very welcoming church. We may be known as it is in print and whatever, but that we're out there campaigning and growing our congregation for the people that would fit, that don't fit someplace else.
As we say in the church, in our theology, that God is always creating something new. And it's going to be amazing to see what God created 20 years ago and how God is going to take that forward into the next 20, 30, 40, 50, who knows how many years, as God wills. Thank you for taking this time.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me to do this. Appreciate it.